Hello and welcome to Advanced Machine Learning. My name is Dr. Alan Dennis and I'll be your instructor in this course. So you may be asking, well, what are we going to do, right? So the basic idea of advanced machine learning is that we're going to cover things like artificial neural networks. And in particular, the basic problem we're solving with machine learning is how to solve problems using algorithms that are maybe a little different than some of the things you've seen in the past. And so those things typically center on things like neural networks, deep learning, support vector machines, and sometimes some genetic programming. And we'll talk about each of those topics as we go through the course. And the basic idea here is to give you an overview of these topics. These are fields unto themselves. You could spend certainly a term, if not longer, studying each one of these topics. So in particular, neural networks, connectionist approaches have been around for quite a while. They got really cool whenever the concepts of deep learning came to play, which basically meant that we could construct neural networks that had more than essentially 3 layers. So the deepness implies that there's multiple hidden layers inside of the network. Support vector machines have been around for quite a while. Genetic programming has as well, and we'll talk about all of these, and then we'll close out with a discussion of cross-validation, a topic that you've probably dealt with in the past, but it's always a good idea to kind of refresh and view it from the perspective of machine learning. A little bit about myself. I have a doctorate in computer science with a concentration in big data analytics. I have a master's in computer science. My concentration there was also artificial intelligence, and a bachelor's in business administration, which centered on computer information systems, those 2 degrees from West Virginia University. I have a lovely wife, 4 adult children, and 4 grandchildren. We live out in the middle of nowhere on a 74-acre farm. These are some of the characters that are in my life. Bottom left-hand corner is Ollie, a munchkin cat. He's watching cartoons with me. To the right of that is 3 of the grandbabies, and the youngest sitting together on the couch. That's me in the middle in the funny hat. Bottom right is my wife with one of our miniature horses that has since moved on to greener pastures. And then between myself and the horse is our next to the youngest grandson at Christmas, feeling a little bit of stimulus overload. A little bit about my research interests and things that I spend time trying to learn about. I serve as an advanced analytics architect in my day job, and that means that I deal with things like AI, machine learning, and big data, which is typically around applying machine learning and AI at scale. I also focus a fair amount on software development. Learning how people learn is important to me and how we can do it better. But AI is one of those things that I'm pretty passionate about. I spend a lot of time dealing with solving problems and learning about things like machine learning, speech recognition, and intelligent agents. The Internet of Things kind of is a tangent to those things because it oftentimes is a player in the architectures that I'm dealing with. And stream processing was my research topic for my dissertation, and in particular I dealt with the concepts of the types of mistakes people make whenever they're writing rules that govern complex event processing systems, a type of stream processing. About my day job, I work for a company called Avanade. Avanade was created roughly 20 years ago by Accenture and Microsoft as a joint venture. The idea was to address enterprise problems with Microsoft technologies, and today that basically means Azure. I serve as an advanced analytics architect, architecting solutions which address challenges associated with AI, ML, intelligent agents, bots, and so on. Along the way, I oftentimes find myself building data platforms because you have to have data to do this kind of stuff in a meaningful way. And so that's a list of some of or a series of some of the icons of companies I've worked with over the years. As you can see, I have trouble staying with a job for very long. So why do I teach? And there's lots of reasons. Part of it is I like to apply the experiences that I've learned in the real world in the academic setting, so share them with you as practitioners. I also like to continue to learn, and one way to do that is to teach. Oftentimes we do things where we can be quite successful without knowing all there is to know about a particular domain, but whenever you're teaching it, you kind of need to know it pretty well, and that's part of why I do it. It's also a way of expanding my areas of knowledge by potentially learning about something I might not necessarily have the opportunity to do as often in the real world. It also is a way that I can give back. I like to share the gift of education because education has been quite good to me. The things that I have are because I have an education. A course overview. So this is very similar to every other competency-based educational program that you've taken here at Rasmussen. So CBE is centered around this concept of demonstrating your knowledge, and that's where these deliverables come in. You have 6 deliverables that make up a total of 66% of your grade. The remaining 28% comes from your final deliverable, which is essentially kind of a capstone that kind of ties it all together. And then the balance, that last 6% to take you up to 100, comes from the live sessions, basically. So having done those. Grading scale is quite typical. If you master, you get an A. If you're proficient, you get a B, and so on. These are very similar. If you have any questions about this, do make sure you let me know. Keep in mind on the rubrics that you're graded on the lowest of the rubric. So if you nail it all but miss one, that one is what your grade is. So keep that in mind. One of the things that's nice about CBE is that there's a high degree of engagement between myself and you, the students. So you can expect me to respond back to you quickly. If I don't, then something's going on. Try multiple means of getting a hold of me in that case, because it's not typical. So something must be extraordinary, because I typically will respond to you within certainly less than 48 hours. So if you have questions, do let me know. Feel free to email me, text me, whatever works for you. I am around, so I may or may not answer the phone, but I'll certainly answer a text. Oftentimes because I can't. Also be expecting your grades to come back within 24 to 48 hours. I try to turn them around as quickly as I can, because having been a student for numerous years, I appreciate the anxiety of waiting for somebody to give you feedback. And I will give you detailed feedback, calling out the things that you did well and the things that need some improvement, if there are any. We do have twice a week meetings where we get together and talk. Typically, you will have communication from me at the beginning of the week of what's going on that week. I typically will do an announcement at least once, if not twice a week, where I'll talk about what I'm going to talk about during each one of those live sessions. They will be recorded and archived in the course room if you can't reach them for some reason, and sometimes timing it just doesn't work out. But do keep that in mind. You do want to make sure you're turning in things on a regular cadence, so make sure you make something happen every 14 days, and make sure you do something especially in that first 7 days, so that you don't inadvertently get removed from the course. I strongly recommend you plan your time in this course. Some of these topics can be quite challenging. In particular, getting Hadoop to work can be a challenge, and we'll talk about that more later. But it is something that you want to allow plenty of time for. Don't put things off to the end and then do it all at the end, because generally speaking, that doesn't go well. So with that, I'll wrap this up. If you have questions about anything I've talked about, let me know. That's what I'm here for. And I look forward to our time together during this course. If you need anything, reach out. Let me know. If you have any concerns, questions, let me know. That's what I'm here for. Stay safe, and we'll talk again soon.